How did my older brother pay me $5,000 to disappear, but got himself kicked out? I had just come out as gay to my older brother, Dustin, and for a moment he just stood there in shock. Then a calmness spread over his expression and he sighed, pulling out his checkbook. $5,000 to leave home, he said. Take it. Mom and Dad will never accept a gay son. I gaped at him in surprise and shook my head slowly. Keep your money, I snapped. I hurried to my bedroom and grabbed a suitcase from the closet, throwing my clothes and shoes inside. Tears threatened to fall from my eyes, but I held them back as I zipped up the suitcase and dragged it to the front door. Mom and Dad were out playing racquetball, so they weren't here to stop me. Not that they would. My brother was right. They wouldn't accept me. I had to leave. My brother stuffed a check into the front pocket of my suitcase, then stepped back, sorrow in his eyes. He was so fake. He never liked me since I was born, and never wasted a second telling me that. I knew where he stood with me, but I never thought he'd stoop this low. He would be happy now that I was gone. I picked up my suitcase and dragged it outside, feeling the cold wind seeping through my thin clothes. I shivered but pushed forward. I had to leave before my parents got home. I didn't know how long I walked for, but I eventually found myself at the local homeless shelter. I struggled up the steps until I entered the building and paused at the man behind the counter. The man stared at me for a moment before something like sadness passed through his expression. Are you lost, kid? He asked gently. No, I grunted. I need a bed. Is there one open? The man looked shocked, but he recovered quickly and nodded. I just need you to fill this out. He handed me a clipboard with a questionnaire on it. I didn't notice him picking up his phone as I sat down on a nearby chair and began filling the paper out. Finally, I finished filling it out and gave it back to the man just as the doors opened, and in strolled two cops. I froze in fear as they strolled over to me with purpose. What's your name, son? The taller one asked. Denny, I said hesitantly. Where do you live, Denny? Asked the shorter one. I shook my head. I don't have a home. I couldn't tell them the truth. They exchanged glances that told me they knew something I didn't. Come with us, kid, said the taller one, reaching for me. I didn't try to fight as he grabbed my arm and led me back into the cold and into the back of a police car. I wasn't sure what was going on, and fear filled me as they began driving. The fear rose as I realized we were heading back to my parents' house. When they parked against the curb in front of the house, I had the urge to run, but they didn't let me. The shorter cop grabbed my arm when I got out of the car, and they led me up the porch steps to the front door, knocking loudly. The door opened and Mom stood there. When she saw me, she started openly sobbing and rushed forward to embrace me tightly. Her reaction confused me. I didn't think they loved me that much since they were always fans of my older brother. I was always the forgotten one, the one in the background, the one living in my brother's shadow. She dragged me into the house where Dad was standing with my older brother. My brother looked angry and disgusted with his arms folded across his chest and scowling at the floor. Dad looked relieved when he saw me. He thanked the cops and they left without another word to us. What is going on? I asked. Why did you run away? Mom sobbed. We practically had the whole neighborhood out looking for you. We called the cops because we didn't know what to do. Why? I hesitated and glanced at my brother for a second. He shot me a menacing glare, threatening me into silence, but I suddenly realized I didn't care. I'm gay, I said firmly. Mom and Dad both looked confused and exchanged glances. We know that, son, Dad replied. We've known for years. We were just waiting for you to be comfortable to tell us yourself. I stared at him and glanced at my brother. Dustin told me you would never accept me, I protested. I rummaged through my suitcase until I found the check and presented it to them. Dad spun around to stare at my brother. How could you? He hissed. Dustin shrugged. It was easy and I'd do it again. Dad looked disgusted. You're out, he said coldly. Pack your bags. You have until tonight to move out.